Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. XRP is dropping like a rock along with the rest of crypto, and there is a reason for this. Now, the vast majority of times that crypto is moving dramatically to the upside or the downside, you get crypto media articles, sometimes mainstream media articles, just pinning whatever's happening that day on, like, that's the reason for the dramatic move. And there's been a little bit of that. But that's actually not what I'm getting at. Not that fundamentals can't impact crypto markets. My argument has typically been, though, in the world of crypto, with it being quite the nascent asset class, it's just a bunch of speculation based on frankly nothing, just the behaviors of humans. That's the vast majority. And so then whatever happens and whatever's going on in the day, it's that is attributed to that's the cause for it. And part of the reason I say that is because you can see similar news occurring with Bitcoin or XRP or pick your cryptocurrency, whether it's a little positive, a little negative, whatever it is, and it doesn't seem to do anything to the price. And then you have similar news on a day where there's a big movement now, and then suddenly people think, well, that's what's happening right now. That must have been it. I'm like, guys, this is not outlier. That's not an outlier news event. It's no more spectacular than any of these other stories that have been circulating over the last X amount of time. And so I've always found it to be a little bit silly, a little bit peculiar, but it's human nature to respond like this. And so that's actually not what I'm talking about here. But we'll drill into this here. But I do want to be clear at the outset, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this, XRP is down to 73 cents, Bitcoin at 40,789. Market cap for the entire crypto asset class. Haven't seen it this low in a long time. It's under 2 trillion. Look at this. 1.95 trillion. Oh my god, the sky is falling. It's all going to zero. That's what people think and feel. Apparently, I don't believe that at all. I'm completely like I could not possibly have more chill than I have right now. I do not emotionally respond to this negative price action. And mind you, it's easy for me because I've seen it. Like I keep saying, like the market's been trending upward, including XRP, the whole time that all of it's existed. So that's clear, and that's despite extreme volatility, so I'm not expecting the volatility to go away. In fact, I want the volatility because that's what makes the tremendous upward moves possible. So when we happen to see the downward moves, I'm like, yeah, crypto's being crypto. The data shows we should expect it to do that. Why are people emotionally responding? And so I bought XRP after it hit $4, went down, I purchased at 55 cents, and then 50 cents, and 45 cents, and 40 cents, and 35, and 30, and 25, all the way down to 15 cents. And what do you know? At some point in the future, it ran up to $2, and now it's back down to 73 cents. I don't care, because my bet is that at some unknown point in the future, XRP will hit its all-time high and enter a new realm of price discovery. And so my bet, ever since the last bubble popped, is that either that's going to happen or it's going to zero. Anything that happens in between, I don't freaking care. Because the data shows, no matter how much time it takes, historically anyway, we've just seen the price climb. I don't think there's any sort of reasonable indicator out there to think that's not going to continue, despite massive pullback and prolonged periods of pain. Despite that, I still just don't see it. And Bitcoin dominance has been rising, actually. It's at 39.47%. Here's a crypto fear and greed index down to 19 out of 100, indicating that the market is in extreme fear. Yesterday was 24 out of 100, and again today, 19 out of 100, because reasons. Never mind that these participants that are extremely fearful are involved in an asset class that is yielding consistently life-changing wealth now for over a decade, and I personally believe that it will continue to, for those that know what the hell they're doing and don't emotionally respond. I believe it will continue to yield life-changing wealth for those participating now. Yes, even right now, if you fast forward a decade and you see where the prices for some of these things are at, yup, I believe so. And hopefully by then a bunch of these cryptocurrencies no longer exist. And I'm not pretending like there's no risk associated with that. Of course there is, but come on. And so as far as what led the market down? Well, there was this. Actually, let me get this one out of the way because I don't buy into this at all, and I'll explain why. But there's this headline today. A total crypto ban called for by Russian central bank. Here's potential reason for it. And I don't really want to go through the story, but you guys are aware of how many times over the last close to a decade China has declared Bitcoin illegal, this or that, getting rid of it. And then it did actually at times result in tremendous price pullback. So I'm not pretending stuff like that can't happen. How many times has China declared Bitcoin illegal, though, and it just moves on up? Well, so does Russia have the same power, especially in this day and age, to cause such a pullback? Because again, they're calling for an outright ban, and they're basically saying it's tantamount to a pyramid scheme. It's wacky stuff out there. Because if that's the case, you might as well say stocks are a pyramid scheme because it relies on newer entrants to bump up the price and this and that. So then everything's a pyramid scheme. It's just stupid, faulty logic. But setting that aside, the answer is no. This is not, and I don't believe for a second. Some people are attributing the drop to this, and the answer is, I think, pretty firmly no. So what did cause it? Well, I'll show you, and I'll provide evidence for why I believe what I believe also. Here's a headline from MarketWatch, one of many articles covering this very topic. Another late reversal leaves United States stocks with losses a day after NASDAQ enters correction territory. Folks, crypto just followed the stock market. I've been highlighting for years on years that crypto, like it or not, it's highly correlated to the stock market. Highly correlated. I'll show you charts. And the blockchain backer is highlighting this too. Take a look at this tweet from him late this afternoon. He wrote, "Stock market tanked into the close and crypto flipped red at the same time. Tomorrow will be interesting to see how markets respond to this dramatic day. Up all day, then dump into and after close." So think about it. If you're freaking about your crypto, could you just pause and take a moment to recognize that these emotional drops in crypto don't even have anything to do specifically with crypto? They have to do with it following the emotional trading of the stock market. Because you understand there's emotions in the stock market too. It's just emotional idiots doing stupid stuff, which is why all sorts of people don't make money in stocks even. But crypto's just following it. It doesn't mean that fundamentals of anything changed. If you care about fundamentals, and I actually do, by the way, for over the long haul anyway, I acknowledge they don't matter sufficiently in the short term. But if you're like me and you understand fundamentals matter over the long haul, then you should be looking at this like, what do you know? My crypto's on sale. You know, it's like freak out because reasons? I don't know about all that. And then take a look at this. An XRP community member named JT wrote to the blockchain backer the following. Correlation can be a good thing, and it can be a bad thing. Bitcoin has never been in a bear market. We're going to circle back to that point in a second. He says, Bitcoin has never been in a bear market, but it's about to get the mother of all bears in stocks for 2022. Monthly MACD cross all but guaranteed for the end of the month on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ monthly and monthly top with Bitcoin. And then a separate tweet wrote, and by a bear market, I'm referring to a real bear market in equities. Risk assets rose with the tide coming in and will drop as the tide goes out. So what he's saying here is that Bitcoin effectively hasn't really lived in a time where the stock market was truly in a bear market. The whole time Bitcoin's existed, despite, and there have been pullbacks. You can think especially what happened with the pandemic in, like, I guess it would have been March of 2020. Yeah, so there was a pullback, a massive pullback for stocks anyway. And then it just kept on trucking on upwards. And so Bitcoin and the crypto asset class hasn't endured a reality where where stocks are actually in a bear market. Now, also understand that the stock market and economic realities are two separate things. You must understand that despite crummy economic realities today, where people over the world are encountering, frankly, the economy's not looking so hot, the price for the stocks are not reflecting that. And there are a number of reasons for that, and we can talk about that more in a separate video, but that's the reality of it. It's not, think about how much stocks have gone up for so many of these companies. Are they providing that multiplier of an effect of additional product and service or sales coming in to justify that going? Well, no, the answer is no, obviously, for the vast majority of companies. Right? Yet the stocks have been just going up like crazy over the last couple of years, on the whole, anyway, right? So it has nothing to do with that. So Bitcoin, I say that all just to make the point, Bitcoin hasn't endured a situation where it's actually existing while stocks are in a bear market. And the blockchain backer seems to agree with this, and he wrote, "Oh, I'm right there with you. Presented the case dozen plus times." And yeah, I'm right there with you too. And given that we know that it's correlated, that will be interesting. But again, even if that happens, it doesn't mean the world's ending. Even bear markets don't last forever, folks. It doesn't mean the world's crumbling. It doesn't mean that the United States economy is going to cease existing. It actually, for investors, Like, it represents opportunity. Historically, it certainly has. We have over 100 years worth of data proving that's the case with the stock market, and about 13 years proving that with crypto. It just is the case. And Will Clemente was highlighting this as well. And here's a chart. If for those of you that are not driving or some such thing, feel free to take a look at your screen. This is from just 4 years ago. 4 hours ago. On-chain analytics dude Will Clemente wrote, "Bitcoin is in orange, NASDAQ in blue." Look at this. And it's over a shorter time frame, but look at this. It's strikingly similar. There's a correlation here. And it's been going on forever. Like, crypto clearly is following whatever the stock market's doing when there's these big moves in particular. And then he sarcastically wrote, "More decoupling," because there's all sorts of people out there that are insisting that Bitcoin's breaking away from the stock market. And that's why I always argue. It's like, guys, you got to zoom out on a chart. If you actually think that's true, please zoom out on a chart. It's the same argument I make when people are saying XRP is decoupling from Bitcoin. I'm like, no, it's not. The whole asset class is moving together in the short term, over short time periods. It can look like they're moving independently, but if you zoom out over a chart, look over a longer time period, you'll see very clearly that absolutely, unquestionably is not true. Same when you compare the Bitcoin to the stock market on the whole. It's moving together. So here he wrote sarcastically, "Mother coupling," which I think it's kind of comical, actually. And again, this is over a shorter time period, but I'm saying even if you zoom out, you're going to see even more crystal clear that's the case. It is what it is, folks. And so over the short time, don't misunderstand. You can have strikingly similar charts even over the short time frame. It just doesn't always happen, but it is right now. In fact, this is why, to make the point, I'm now back on Live Coin Watch's homepage here. I've got the top 10 cryptocurrencies by market cap here. Now, don't pay attention to USDT and USDC because they're stable coins, so the charts look different. But look where I'm circling on the weekly charts here. All of those charts are almost exactly the same. Almost exactly the same. Why is that? The market moves in tandem, folks. There's proof. If you have eyeballs, you can see it. It's on your freaking screen right there. It just does. It just moves together. Matter of fact statement. That's it. So it doesn't make sense to be fearful over any of this. Things turn up. It's a bunch of humans, emotional humans, making buying and selling decisions, not just in crypto, but in the stock market. And the stock market leads crypto. There's just more opportunity in crypto because there's way less money in it. And so you get an asymmetrical gains relative to other asset classes. And yeah, asymmetrical losses, fine. But what a trend to the upside over 13 years. So who the hell gives a damn? Not me. I only put money that I'm willing to lose, money that I don't need to pull out imminently. I'm good. It's all about being patient and playing the long game. And so there's this also from Credible Crypto, chart analyst. "We failed to hold our reclaim and immediately dumped back, indicating this was just a deviation / fake out. Back to the choppy range we have been confined to for the past 2 weeks. As mentioned in prior posts, a daily close down here could still set up a potential bullish divergence." And so there you go. It seems more probable than not, despite what we've seen today, probably just going to trade sideways longer. Doesn't mean that's going to happen for sure, but probably. And I'm not seeing from most analysts that they think that we're going to be seeing Bitcoin go much lower than the recent low we saw, a little below $40,000, although there are a couple that do think that, and I'll highlight them in this video. Here's another tweet from chart analyst Credible Crypto. "The definition of a downtrend is a series of lower highs and lower lows. An uptrend, a series of higher highs and higher lows. Somehow, they have convinced half of crypto Twitter that the price action below is a downtrend." And so he's talking about Bitcoin here specifically. So here's the Bitcoin chart. And here you can see the high. I guess this would have been the first all-time high, or not, maybe it wasn't even the first, but the biggest one for the first half of the year where Bitcoin hit whatever it was, close to 65,000, I think it was, something like that. Yeah, actually that's what he's highlighting right here, I suppose. And so you hit that, and then it went down, but look at the low. Look at how low it got. So fine, it was above, or a little below $30,000, but noting that that was a higher low than the previous low that we had seen during the last notable dip. And then the next high, which we saw, I forget when Bitcoin topped already because everything blurs together, whether it was October or November, it hit like 69,000, whatever it was. You had a higher high there again. And then it's just crashed down now. And currently, at least, that's a higher low. And so that's the point that he's saying. That's an upward trend. And so somebody responded to this named Alt Hodler and wrote, it depends what time frame you look at and perspective. For the last 3 months, we're in a downtrend. There's no denying that. So again, it depends. He actually did make a fair point. It depends on the time frame you're looking at. And here's Credible Crypto's response to that, though. Sure, but it's within a larger uptrend. That's the point. That's the larger point I'm making. Go look at this. The last time we were in a 3-month downtrend, a break of all-time high followed. So to say that this lower time frame downtrend signals the end of the bull market makes no sense. Here's a tweet from chart analyst DIY Investing. I'm going to go ahead and say the bottom has been in since the last spill sub $40,000. There's so much bullish divergence on the higher time frames right now. At the very least, I'd say we get a strong bounce over this week. So there's another analyst that thinks, more likely than not anyway, the lowest price, locally recently, it's already in. Then there was this from a chart analyst Il Capo, who thinks that we could see as low as $38,500 to maybe $39,000 for Bitcoin if it wicks down that low. So he's not stating definitively, but he's saying, okay, maybe you potentially see it wick down to roughly that range. So he doesn't see a disaster scenario either. Love Crypto thinks potentially could go a little bit lower. He wrote, 36,700 to 37,700 is a major demand and liquidity zone. I expect Bitcoin to visit that area soon. And then there was chart analyst Nicholas Merton. He was covered in this piece from the Daily Hodl, which is titled, Crypto Analyst Nicholas Merton Predicts Dramatic Volatility for Bitcoin, and here's his target. And he still does believe that we will be seeing Bitcoin blast above $100,000 and sooner than later, actually, but he did note the following. We may be on the verge of a pretty harsh correction of over 20 to 30% decline in Bitcoin's price. We've been bearish in the short term over the past couple of weeks, and we believe that there is still more downside to go, but I'm still a long-term bull. So just take it for what it's worth. Most analysts that I follow still think more likely than not, at least in the short term, we're not going to see anything dramatically lower, but don't rule out potentially seeing lower. So what I'm getting at here is there's no really strong leanings from, because here's the deal, and I've said this before, but it's worth repeating for anybody that may not have heard it. What I find is that when the vast majority of the analysts that I follow strongly believe something, more likely than not, that's what's going to happen. And there's just a broad range of opinions at this point. So take that for what it's worth. All of them have strong conviction for their perspectives, and they think it's most probable. But what I'm saying is they're not sufficiently aligning for me to draw a huge conclusion from that. But I enjoy tracking the analysts that I track because it's just interesting to put all their thoughts in a box and just kind of see where everything aligns effectively. But yeah, so anyway, why is XRP down? Because Bitcoin's down, because the stock market's down, because people have emotions, and it has nothing to do with fundamentals, and none of it matters, but big picture. I'm just going to sit here and hold. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.